Whether it's Golden Living, Emeritus, Genesis, any of them. You can't just look at a chain and go, this is obviously going to be a good home because it has that brand. You've got to go into the home. Those homes vary just like hospitals. There's one level of care in one in another. And I can tell you, usually it is based in those events on a regional vice president and the administrator. They set the tone, they set the culture. And sometimes it's really good, and unfortunately, too many times, it's really bad. Well, my least favorite subject is me, but I've been a lawyer for 35 years. I closed my practice earlier this year to devote full time to 4-Hour Elders. And again, you mentioned in the question, this is a first-time thing, and it is. And that's why I launched it. I looked and really hoped, coming out of my parents' tragedies, that something else could fill my life. I needed to make something positive out of something really bad. In fact, that was the last thing my dad said, conscious to me, was make something good out of something so bad. 4-Hour Elders was born with a specific vision to fill a void, a huge void, a chasm, if you will. Now, you can go on the internet and you can find hundreds of companies, a dozen or more, that will find you a facility for free. So you don't have to pay $4. You don't have to look at my list, you wouldn't think. You just type in a zip code of where you want to go. They'll find you a facility and boom, you can get into that facility. The problem with that type of approach, and it's duplicated by any number of companies out there on the internet. In fact, I would say to you, if you go on the internet and you find anything like that, keep this in mind. What those companies are, they're off-balance sheet marketers for the homes themselves. In other words, those homes can't fill their beds. Good homes that have good care and service fill their beds. Those that don't. And so they hire companies like a placeformom.com, placefordad.com, that have made millions and millions and millions of dollars putting people in facilities. But I can tell you, they put them into facilities that the facility cannot otherwise fill. I can give you an example. One of my particular clients used it throughout Mississippi. Their facilities in Mississippi were very poor, and they could not fill the beds. They pay the Place for Mom or placefordad.com 1 month's rent, which is, by the way, what 4-Hour Elders charges our private clients, 1 month's rent for every bed they fill. So they're off-sheet balance. You don't have to hire a marketer. You don't have to hire a sales company. It's on an incentive basis. You put them in, and what they're looking for is to put you in a facility where they're going to get paid. Care and service is not the only company looking at care and service as the number one and really only guiding metric, and doing it just for the client, getting paid from no one else. And third, the thing that distinguishes us is we do it one-on-one, person to person. We evaluate people and real-time care and service. That's what 4-Hour Elders does, and it was born out of my experience. I represented for the last 12 or 13 years, in-house, meaning inside a corporation, an officer within a company, and outside, meaning in my own private firm, I represented a number of long-term care companies. I have probably investigated as many or more bad outcomes in facilities than any other single human being. I've seen an awful lot. I've seen the other side. I've seen where there's been improvement. In many of my talks, I have a specific fact scenario designed around a scenario, a hypothetical scenario, but it is born of facts that I have experienced many times in my career that just encourage the continuation of a litigation culture that buries problems, doesn't solve them. 4-Hour Elders tries to get into that sort of culture and find out what's going on. It was born out of my personal tragedies. It was born out of my professional experience. But 4-Hour Elders does something that no one else is doing. I hope others do. 4-Hour Elders is about helping to improve based on what the consumer demands, helping to improve healthcare and service in this country. And I'm not crazy. I worked for the railroad as part of my career. And one of the things I took on was a safety project in the railroad. Well, the railroads have many, many unions, and it used to be very contentious. Don't know if it still is. I haven't been in the railroad business for 20 years, but we looked at the safety numbers and that curve and the cost of injuries and lawsuits and everything that went on with that. We were going bankrupt. We were making a lot of money, but safety alone with our employees was killing us. It was one of those insidious things. We didn't even know it till we started tracking it. We solved that nut. We improved safety. Now, we did it as from a management perspective to make more money. We're a for-profit company. We have shareholders. We made more money. It turns out it was the right thing to do. It helped lead to a lot of other changes between management of the railroad and its unions. That was a fundamental big shift, and it's happened throughout the railroad industry. 100 years of history was overturned by efforts that started. You can now ask DuPont, went through the same thing with the safety. We studied what DuPont did with its safety and efforts. So this can work in a massive field like healthcare. The problem is in this industry, the consumer doesn't have enough information to demand it. That's what 4-Hour Elders is about. Getting that information, as I said, facility by facility, patient resident by patient resident, one at a time. I got a decade I'm investing in this. The people that are with me have the time, and we have the determination, both because of our professional backgrounds and because, unbelievably and tragically, our own personal experiences.